The latest political research released this week reveals something truly astonishing. Jacob Zuma's Umkhonto we Sizwe party is now on track to be the biggest winner in this year's municipal elections and to win around 40 local and district municipalities across 2 provinces in the upcoming elections that are now less than 13 weeks away. This comes all after the party's support surged by no less than 50% in merely 4 months. The final voting registration weekend concluded. We are now in the final stretch heading into the 7th nationwide municipal elections since 1994. And just weeks before the election, the Social Research Foundation, a prominent public opinion research organization, released its latest polls testing party support among likely voters ahead of the election scheduled to be held on the 4th of November this year. But what is particularly striking is the way that the mainstream media has been reporting on these findings. In the media and in the reports he released yesterday, the reality that the ANC support has dropped from 39% to 34% nationally and from 30% to only 18% in the city of Johannesburg, according to these polls, has been extensively amplified. Yet, what no one seems to point out is the fact that with the Social Research Foundation polls, one can roughly subtract between 5 and 10% from the DA's voting poll or polling numbers and add them to the ANC, and that's where you get the actual election results, usually when we look at polls at this stage of the year. Yet, what the mainstream media is also failing to highlight is the biggest reality that is far more complex than that. And that even despite the ANC's sharp decline that we can very clearly not see just in polls but in the way that people react to them, the neoliberal DA or Democratic Alliance also keeps on dropping with every single opinion poll. The reality is that the poll data indicates that the South African political landscape is becoming far more fragmented and far more radicalized rather than less so or unifying behind an opposition party to the ANC. Stay tuned. In today's video, we are going to give you an unfiltered analysis of the latest data that you won't find anywhere else, where we can actually tell you what is going to happen. When the Social Research Foundation released its previous poll 4.5 months ago in March of this year, it found the ANC polling nationally at 39%, with the DA at an astonishing 28%. With the ANC, of course, then leading the DA by 11 points and the MK and EFF polling at 10 and 6% respectively. With the release of the latest poll, there was tremendous excitement about the fact that the ANC's lead over the DA nationally has dropped to just 7 percentage points according to the latest poll. The ANC now polls at a meager 34%, showing that its decline, which really started just over a decade ago when Julius Malema's EFF started contesting elections, is now accelerating fast to the breaking point of this party. But the biggest problem, buried under all the sensational news headlines that we saw this week, is the fact that almost all of that support is going to Jacob Zuma's MK party or Umkhonto we Sizwe party. You see, interestingly enough, just prior to these poll numbers being released, the news broke of Jacob Zuma's son, Duduzane Zuma, being appointed deputy president of the MK party. This week, it further strengthened the Zuma family's complete grip over this new party. The fact of the matter is that while the ANC may have lost a massive ton of support over the past few months, the DA also lost support during that same period. And the EFF, of the evidently fatigued Julius Malema that became increasingly irrelevant over the past few years, only marginally increasing its support. All of the ANC's decline in support can be accounted for one thing. It is the MK party of Jacob Zuma's increase. This means that the DA's own decline, in all likelihood, indicates that some voters are still continuing to leave for other small parties such as Action SA on their left or the Freedom Front Plus on their right. The fact that is immensely worrisome, though, that a political party such as the MK, the entire existence of which is centered around perhaps the most scandal-ridden head of state in modern history, has seen its support increase by an astonishing 50%, 1.5 times what it previously was in just the last few months, leading up to this major election, which all goes without saying. After all, Zuma's 9-year presidency had become synonymous with state capture, the absolute looting and institutional decay of state-owned enterprises, and his politically connected relationship with the Gupta family and massive tons of corruption, which we haven't even seen under the previous ANC presidents, even though corruption was already a problem starting with Mandela and Mbeki. The Zondo Commission found that Zuma had enabled state capture and recommended further criminal investigations, and today this former president still continues to face 18 charges of corruption that he just laughs off all the way to the bank, with other charges of fraud, racketeering and money laundering thrown into the mix. What is even more to this, his son Duduzane, who has now been appointed to the highest level of leadership in the MK party, was himself also a business partner of the Guptas and featured prominently in allegations concerning their access to senior politicians and state contracts. According to the Zondo Commission's final report, he was also the second largest beneficiary of the Gupta-linked accusations of corruption of the Optimum coal mine located near Hendrina in Mpumalanga. He received an astonishing 342 million rands from that little transaction alone. His appointment by his own father as MK deputy president therefore reinforces the concern that the party is now further establishing itself as the political vehicle of the Zuma family dynasty, rather than an accountable political organization which is in opposition to the ANC. But despite all of this corruption, despite all of the unaccounted billions lost from the national treasury under Jacob Zuma, there is a hard, uncomfortable reality that mainstream political analysts in the media, such as even the reporters at the Common Sense itself, the outlet that made the latest polling data public, simply refuse to acknowledge to all of us. That reality is that Jacob Zuma, to this very day, retains a massive loyal voter base, especially among the Zulu people in the eastern provinces of the country. Despite all of his corruption, despite all of the scandals, he still demands by far the most loyalty among the masses of ANC voters, which is so much more than any figure at the ANC and especially Cyril Ramaphosa could. For example, the fact of the matter is that more and more former ANC voters are now walking away from the ANC, and almost all of them, apart from the very few that are still walking to the EFF, came over to the MK party, which can in part be attributed to the growing dissatisfaction among black South Africans about how Ramaphosa's ANC administration has handled the ongoing immigration crisis in this country, which is now evolved into the #1 political issue in contemporary South African politics.
The president doesn't understand the immigration crisis. I think from what he was saying, I could figure that. First of all, he says that they're going to increase deportation and increase courts. That's not the issue. The current issue is they don't have enough transport to deport people. The border, the drones that they have are not enough. The border is operating at 25% capacity. So 75% of our border is open.
Whereas organizations such as March and Operation Dudula, who are both getting increasing and massive support from the masses that is usually the ANC's constituency, are increasingly distancing themselves from the ANC and even the EFF, The MK party of Jacob Zuma is the one party that stands out within this, let's call it black electorate space, that stands out as far more sympathetic towards these anti-immigration groups and individuals when it comes to this core issue. In June, the MK Secretary General Sibinelo Nomvalo confirmed that the party stood behind March and March campaign against illegal immigration, and later that month he even encouraged MK supporters to participate in these notorious June 30 protests against illegal immigration. Also keep in mind that this will be the very first municipal election that the MK party will ever contest, meaning that they currently control no municipalities whatsoever. They've never had any seat in a municipality, and now it will be their very first time ever contesting. If the indications of the latest poll play out and their supporter base remains roughly geographically concentrated in the same areas as the previous election, Zuma's party will become the largest party in 32 local municipalities and 6 of the 10 district municipalities in these provinces this coming November. In the overwhelming majority of these, it should be able to govern with an outright majority. But in a number of local municipalities, it will most probably only need a minor coalition partner to be the governing party in that municipality. Moreover, the MK could potentially also emerge victorious in the Gowon Mbeki local municipality in Mpumalanga, where the party has had an exceptionally strong showing in recent elections. This scenario is actually becoming the most likely by the day, as the ANC's and the EFF's fatigued voters increasingly either just stay away from the voting booth or walk over to the seemingly far more energized MK party, which can be expected to capitalize on this even more in the coming weeks. This, what I've told you right now, is by far the most earth-shattering political development at the polling data that we have seen from it. And yet nobody in the mainstream media is willing to highlight this phenomenon. Instead, everyone opted to almost exclusively place their entire focus on the DA's meager growth in Johannesburg, where Helen Zille is running for mayor, and also the fact that the ANC dropped in support without giving any context as to why the ANC is dropping in support, and leaving it up to the uneducated reader to actually assume that it is because of the growing DA, which of course it in fact is not. Here at the Willem Petsche Group, we refuse to shy away from bringing you the actual hard facts, as uncomfortable as they may be, and as much as most people do not want to hear these facts that the DA is not actually growing, and that the MK party is the only one taking votes from the ANC. Our dedicated research team works hard every day to help you stay informed and ahead of the curve when it comes to all the political developments of this country. And this is exactly why we need your support. Simply follow the easy steps on the banner, becoming a patron of us and helping us pay our research team. You see, the ANC's decline is most certainly something we can all rejoice in and celebrate. They have been responsible for governing this country into the ground for well over 3 decades now. But there is a reality that the liberal-minded Westerners in this country will absolutely have to acknowledge if we are to find any solution to the problems all of us in this country and all of the nations in this country are facing. And that is the reality of ethnopolitics or ethnocentric politics. And in particular, how ethnocentric politics is increasingly shaping the future of this part of the world. This is something we covered extensively on this channel, and for example in a recent video which you can watch by clicking on this link appearing on your screen right here, if you want to learn more about this concept and figure out why people are moving to more ethnocentric parties, or more radical parties if you want to put it more simply. Thank you for tuning in and watching today's video right to the very end. We truly appreciate the gift of your time if you have watched it all the way till here. Goodbye and God bless.